Welcome, curious minds, to another deep dive.
I'll be here.
Today, we're taking a closer look at a really fascinating story. It's about growth, sure, but also resilience and, well, flavor. Amazing flavor, actually.
Right, in a market that's just booming and changing constantly, Michigan's cannabis scene.
Exactly. And we've got some great insights from Nuggnotes. They did this piece, Growing Pains, Michigan's Cannabis Journey. That's our guide today.
Sounds good. Growing Pains, the name itself tells a story.
It really does. And our mission, if you want to explore this with us, is basically to unpack how a company goes from, super humble beginnings.
Like really small scale.
Yeah, to becoming the statewide powerhouse.
Yeah.
All while figuring out this brand new, complicated, regulated market.
It's a tricky path to navigate.
For sure. The story really is in the name, Growing Pains.
Yeah.
But like how those pains turned into pressure and then, success, that's what we're digging into.
And what's so compelling, I think, is how that name isn't just branding. It feels more like a philosophy, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like woven into everything they did, every step. We'll look at how they managed to scale up.
Which is always hard.
Always. But crucially, without losing that core thing, that craft quality, that often gets diluted, doesn't it?
So often. It's a huge challenge for any business, really.
Absolutely. Any sector.
Okay, so let's get into it. How did Growing Pains actually do it? How did they become this champion in Michigan's cannabis scene, which is super competitive?
What were the key moves?
Yeah, what were those moments? And how did they turn those setbacks, those pains, into, well, strengths?
Let's unpack it.
All right, so the Nuggnotes piece, it paints this picture of a really organic start, grassroots almost.
Mm-hmm.
It talks about the two founders, Tom and Seth. They first connected through Michigan's caregiver program. Now, for listeners maybe less familiar, what does starting there really mean? What does it imply about how they began, especially compared to, say, big companies jumping in now?
Yeah, that's a really key distinction. The caregiver program, it was fundamentally built around direct patient relationships.
Right, one-on-one almost.
Pretty much. And bespoke cultivation, It wasn't about mass production. It was about meeting very specific needs for individuals with carefully grown, high-quality cannabis.
So a totally different mindset from the start.
Totally different. That whole ethos, it's rooted in personal care, direct interaction. It basically baked in a craft approach from day one.
Okay.
It means their early choices were driven by, well, passion, effectiveness, direct feedback. Not just profit margins or market share grabs.
That makes sense. It laid the groundwork for the quality focus later.
Exactly. Crucial groundwork.
So that initial connection, following each other's pages online, swapping messages, it sounds really natural. Like a shared vibe, shared values, maybe?
Seems like a real synergy.
But then comes the monster leap. From those, hobby rooms and basements, right?
Mm-hmm.
Small batches.
Yeah, tiny scale compared to now.
To running full-scale licensed warehouses. I mean, that's just a massive jump. How do you even manage that?
Well, that transition, going from passion project to a fully professional operation, that's where the Growing Pains name really, really fits.
Okay.
Just imagine the challenges, right? They weren't just growing more plants, going from a few to hundreds or thousands.
And that alone is complex.
Totally.
Yeah.
But they were also navigating this maze of new state rules, building supply chains from scratch, setting up serious quality control, all while trying to keep that craft feel.
Yeah, how do you keep the soul of it?
Exactly. And our sources, they hint at early struggles, things like just dialing in the environment in bigger rooms, humidity, temp, light cycles are way different at scale, managing pests, which can explode in larger grows, even just staffing, finding the right people.
Right.
Each of these early, let's call them failures or maybe missteps, they weren't just losses, they forced them to rethink everything. Their cultivation methods, their IPM integrated pest management strategies.
So they'd had to get systematic.
Really systematic, turning every single setback into valuable data for the next run. It basically embeds resilience right into how they operate.
That's fascinating.
And for you, the listener, that's not just a catchy motto they have. It's like a live demonstration of turning tough times into a real competitive edge.
That iterative process, learning as you go, it sounds key,
Right.
which makes me wonder, okay, they build this meticulous foundation through those pains.
Yeah.
How did that lead to their flavor-first genetics idea?
The flavor focus.
Yeah, was that a hard path? Especially if the market was chasing, I don't know, maybe just high THC numbers or other trends.
It was definitely pushing against the current, but it was strategic. You're right, lots of brands were chasing THC percentages or whatever the hype strain of the month was.
Yeah.
But Growing Pains made this very conscious choice, prioritized taste and smell, what we call flavor-first genetics.
Okay.
And that wasn't just, we like tasty weed. It was a powerful market differentiator, especially when hype drives so much.
Standing out from the crowd.
Exactly. It meant they had to be way more dedicated to the actual product quality, have deeper understanding of the plant, its expressions, terpenes, flavonoids, all of it.
Right.
So instead of just riding the wave, they aimed to define their own lane, create something with real lasting value for the person actually using it.
And they really backed that up with some unique strains. Nuggnotes mentions Zangria, Citronade, Sherbanger, A5, London berries.
Some great names there.
Yeah. And the description they use, candy gas with a Michigan edge.
Yeah.
That sounds so specific. You can almost taste it, right? It's not just a name. It feels like a whole sensory promise.
Precisely. And those specific, memorable flavor profiles, they're absolutely key in carving out their unique identity in people's minds, created a real brand signature. And what's even more interesting, the article mentions they released permanent marker early on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that strain later became Leafly's Strain of the Year. Big deal.
Wow. Okay, so not just luck then.
Definitely not luck. It shows their pheno work stayed ahead of the curve. Now, pheno work, for anyone listening is maybe not deep in the weeds on this.
Yeah, break that down a bit.
It's basically phenotype hunting. It's this super meticulous process. You might grow hundreds, maybe thousands of seeds from one specific genetic cross.
Wow.
Looking for that one special plant, that phenotype that perfectly hits all the marks you want, like unique flavor, the right effects, grows well, whatever it is.
So it's serious R&D.
Deep R&D. It's selection stabilization. It's what lets them consistently deliver on that flavor-first promise. It shows they weren't just playing the game. They were actively shaping it by setting new benchmarks for quality. Innovation.
So if I'm getting this right, they weren't just reacting to what people wanted. They were kind of telling people what they should want by focusing on this deep quality, the sensory thing.
Well put. Yeah.
They became tastemakers, literally, through all that R&D work and building that unique identity.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay, so beyond the genetics themselves, Growing Pains built out this whole product line that became instantly recognizable.
Right, the branding, the look.
Yeah. Nuggnotes really points to their flower foundation, the eighths, the 14-gram jars. They mention strains like Pink Pebbles, Bolo Runtz, Bubblegum Gelato.
Familiar names for Michigan folks, I bet.
Right. And that description, again, the bag smelling like candy aisles but smoked with gas. It's so vivid. Really hammers home the sensory experience they were going for.
And that sensory detail is just so powerful for brand recall, right? Building loyalty. It's not just cannabis. It's this whole experience they crafted. And the fact that their jars became recognizable statewide, that says a ton, not just about the quality being consistent, but also really effective branding, good distribution across a big, diverse state.
Yeah, getting it everywhere.
Weren't just selling flour, they were selling a promise, a consistent, high-quality, distinct flavor every single time you bought their stuff. That builds real trust.
And they didn't just stick to flour. They went into pre-rolls, which, let's be honest, sometimes get treated as like the cheap option in some places.
Yeah, sometimes seems lower tier, definitely.
But their 1-gram pre-rolls, London Marker, Malibu Marker, Zangria, the article says they weren't treated as filler. It says they showed that top-shelf flour could travel. That's a pretty bold statement about consistency, right?
Yeah.
Even for a grab-and-go product.
It really is. And this brings up a good question for you, the listener. How does a company keep that feeling of value and quality across different products, especially when one format is often seen as less premium?
Right.
Growing Pains, they made a very deliberate choice. They used the exact same high-quality flour that was in their jars, in their pre-rolls.
No bee buds or shake?
Apparently not. This wasn't just marketing fluff. It was an operational commitment. By doing that, they just reinforced their dedication to excellence. They stopped the brand from getting watered down in a category others might overlook.
Yeah.
And honestly, it elevated the whole pre-roll category for their customers. It really showed they believed every single product with their name on it deserved that same careful attention.
Okay, another big area for them, and Nuggnotes says this is huge in Michigan specifically, was rosin.
Ah, yes, solventless. Very popular there.
Growing Pains really leaned into that solventless market. Products like Honey Banana, Crunch Berries, Zangria rosin jars. The article says they set a new standard.
High praise.
And they even did half-gram rosin pens that kept the same terp fidelity in smaller form.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds technically difficult, right?
Oh,
Especially with solventless. That shows real dedication.
Oh, absolutely. Focusing on solventless shows, they were really adaptable and understood their specific market, what people there preferred.
Right, listening to the consumer.
Exactly. And solventless, just quickly for those who might not know, it uses only ice, water, heat, and pressure. No chemical solvents. Very pure. And it's prized for preserving the plant's delicate terpene profile, the flavor and aroma compounds. So maintaining that terp fidelity, keeping those natural flavors and smells intact, especially in a vape pen, that's technically demanding.
Yeah.
It really highlights their technical skill, their scientific rigor, and that commitment to delivering the full essence of the plant no matter how you consume it.
So this commitment, this relentless focus on quality across flower, pre-rolls, rosin, it paid off in market reach, right?
Seems so.
Nuggnotes talks about statewide drops to all sorts of shops. Exclusive Ann Arbor, the refinery in Kalamazoo, big names like Dispo, Cake House, Puff. It sounds like, as the article says, patients knew when and where to find their products. That's got to be the goal, right? Becoming reliable like that.
Oh, definitely. That consistent presence across the whole state, it's absolutely crucial. It builds anticipation, sure, but more importantly, deep trust with consumers. It means their craft products are actually accessible. They move beyond just being a local favorite to being like a household name across Michigan.
And that whole logistical feat, scaling up distribution that wide while keeping quality sky high.
It's impressive.
It really speaks volumes about how well they ran things. Operations, planning, sticking to their guns on quality. They built this robust system that didn't compromise the craft.
A testament to their whole approach, really.
And then there are the awards, the accolades.
Yeah.
They really back it all up.
External validation is always good.
Right. That honey banana rosin we mentioned, it recently just ran the table at the Proper Smoke League dessert bracket. Beat 32 other entries.
Wow.
Including, apparently, some really well-known brands, even California ones. And Proper Doinks TV called it a unicorn batch. I mean, that's not just praise. That's like legendary status talk.
That's huge. And what's really interesting there isn't just that they won, but the context.
Winning.
It's not just a pat on the back. It's validation from industry peers,
Nice.
right? And they specifically noted it was better than brands from California.
Which everyone sees as like the benchmark.
Often, yeah. The established market. So this win really drives home their ability to produce truly exceptional world-class stuff, even against the toughest competition. It proves that Michigan Edge they talk about isn't just marketing spin, it's real product superiority.
That's a powerful statement. Okay, so wrapping it up, Nuggnotes concludes that Growing Pains, they didn't just find a spot in the market.
No, they created one.
Yeah, they carved out this significant space in Michigan for that candy gas flour and solventless that rivaled imports. And maybe even more important, their whole model, that pheno-first R&D-driven approach, it push others to step up. That feels like the ultimate sign of leadership, doesn't it?
It really does. That wider impact, influencing the entire market, that's maybe the truest measure of their success. In a market that, as a source puts it, was full of mids, just average stuff.
Yeah, unfortunately common sometimes.
Growing Pains didn't just do well for themselves. They actively raised the bar for everybody.
Fair.
By putting out consistently top-tier products, they basically forced other brands to get better.
Innovate or get left behind.
Exactly. Improve their growing. Focus more on quality, not just quantity. It's just a fantastic real-world example of how leading with quality can actually lift an entire sector, improve the whole industry, which, in the end, is great for consumers everywhere.
So there you have it. That's our deep dive into Growing Pains and their, well, pretty remarkable journey.
It really is.
The story from Nuggnotes just shows so clearly how that name, it's not just a label. It's really a testament to turning those struggles into strength. Or, like they put it, going from pains to pressure.
Yeah, it perfectly captures how those early lessons learned the hard way from every setback, every challenge that became the fuel, the leverage for their incredible growth and, it seems, lasting success. And for you listening, it's just such a compelling case study. It shows how that intense focus on craft, that unwavering commitment to quality, and really understanding your customer, how all that together can lead to serious market influence, a real impact.
Yeah, absolutely. This whole story, it really makes me wonder, how do you spot true craft and quality in the things you buy or the services you use, especially in markets that are new or changing fast like this one?
That's a great question. It's not always obvious.
Right. And what lessons can maybe be pulled from the Growing Pains journey about, facing challenges head on, turning those everyday hurdles we all face into actual advantages in whatever you're pursuing?
Definitely something to think about.
Something to chew on until our next deep dive.